Why the unity of Africa scares the West. Why the West are so afraid to see Africans being united. Why the Western countries are so enjoying whenever there is conflict among Africans. Why the United Nations is not putting enough effort to help African countries which are under conflict with rebellions. Why these Western countries such as the USA, France, British, Germany, they never try to help African countries to fight terrorists and rebellions, organizations which has been there to fight the unity of Africans. In order for us to get the proper answer to all these questions, we need first to understand the real reason why the Western had divided Africa continent. Why did the West find it appropriate for them to divide the Africa continent? Why do they have to come and place borders among African countries? Who's benefiting from these borders in Africa? Before we get to develop this topic, I'm inviting you first to watch this video. This was through an interview which was given by the president of EFF, JULIUS Malema. When he was asked this question about African borders and what was his point of view, have a listen.
All right. I have no time for borders. Why? I have no time for colonialism. How would you say to me, go and change French on the passport and then come at the same time and say, leave the borders alone, but remove French. Removing of French on the passport is part of decolonizing South Africa. Yeah. So you can't speak in folk tongues. It has to be very clear. No one is going to come to our country. They don't have borders in Europe. But when it comes to us, they say, no, you must have borders. Why? The division of Africa is what makes them thrive. They thrive on the division of the African continent. Can you imagine the minerals of DRC combined with the minerals of South Africa and with a new currency based on the minerals? What we can do to the dollar if we become a United States of Africa with our minerals alone? We can collapse the dollar. We can collapse the strong pound that is based on gold, yet they don't have a gold mine. So why do you allow such things? So my position is informed by that. And someone says, no, we won't vote you if you say such things, we won't vote for you. He's asking me to lie so that he can go around saying politicians lie. When I tell the truth, I won't vote for you. I must lie so that they can vote for me. All right. There were no borders, and we must all of us unite in that call. Yeah. Free movements of persons, free movements of goods will make this country flourish. We will even produce our own products. One thing that you South Africans undermine yourself with is that you are the America of Africa. If you are to produce anything here, Africa will receive it with both hands. They will say, this one is from South Africa. You are known for quality, yet you still don't produce a car. Open the borders. Let the goods move. Let people move. Then produce a car that is South African and sell it to the billions of people who are out there waiting for products from South Africa. All right. We don't produce anything, yet we've got market. Because it comes from your mouth, they want it to sound like it's illegal.
Remember, they always say, division brings defeat among a great nation. You can be powerful as much as you claim to be, but if you have division among yourself as a nation, which means you're never gonna succeed in whatsoever you are doing as activities in your country. And this is what exactly the West have tried to do back in days by dividing African borders in order for them to reign, in order for them to succeed with their missions. These people came and taste the sweet cake which is found in Africa continent, and they feel like they have to share it among themselves. They want to make sure that each one of them must have at least a piece of this cake, which is Africa continent. That is how you see them sharing different countries of Africa, so that they'll be able to overlook this country, so that they'll be able to continue looting the mineral resources which are found in these countries. And this is what JULIUS Malema just explained here, because he knows that The unity of Africa, it is something that scares the West, and the unity of Africa, it is something that will destroy all these so-called powerful nations in the world, such as the USA, British, France. All these countries, they can be defeated only by the unity of Africa. If Africans can be united today, things won't be the same. And that is the reason why you see them, they are afraid, because they don't want to see Africans to love one another. They don't want to see Africans to speak one language, because they don't want Africans to have one currency. They don't want to see Africans to have one president, to have one military army, to have one mother language. They don't want this, because they know the day this will take place, that will be the day of their downfall. They rather prefer to see Africans being divided. They rather prefer to see Africans suffering. They rather prefer to see Africans having war, conflict among themselves, killing one another, so that they can continue to reign, so that they can continue to benefit from African minerals. And that is the naked truth, which each and every African know already about it. Julius Malema gave a very simple example, saying, imagine the mineral resource from Congo and the one of South Africa. But me, I'll even go far to say, imagine the petrol from Nigeria plus the petrol from Gabon, or the one from Angola, excluding the one from Algeria and Libya. If they have to combine all this petrol in one place, can you tell or can you imagine what will be this Africa tomorrow? Now, how do we find it normal to see that we still have these countries which produce tons and tons of doom of petrol, yet we are the one who don't even have enough petrol in our cars, or using it for different reasons? Instead, we are the one who are paying a very high price in order for us to have petrol to fill up in our tanks. But where does all this petrol goes if it does not go to Europe, if it does not go to America? So all these African minerals, they are leaving Africa continent at a very cheap price. By the time when it come back, you have to go and pay a lot of money in order for you to have them. Take for an example, iPhones. The mineral which they invade iPhone from, it all comes from Africa. And here we're talking majority of about 86% comes from the DRC Congo. Whether it is coltan, whether it is copper, whether it is gold. So you can tell that most of these minerals are coming from Africa. These minerals, they leave Africa without being treated in Africa's soil. They have to go somewhere, either to China, either to Europe. That's where they are going to treat it. And then they'll fabricate whatsoever they want to fabricate. But when they come out with that, whether it is a phone, whether it is a camera, whether it is a TV, it is now Africans who have to pay high price of it. Do we have to find that normal? No. What about guns? All the products that they use to fabricate guns, all these things that we get to see around the world, they all come from Africa. Yes, they are coming from Chad, they are coming from Mali, Burkina Faso. And all these things, once they go somewhere in Europe, they treat it, they fabricate gun machines. The next things, they don't want to use it in their soil. Instead, they have to come and send it to Africa by giving rebellions, by giving it to the terrorists. In our previous video, I asked you a very simple question. How possible is it that until today, the government of Nigeria, they are not able to defeat the Boko Haram? Do you think that Boko Haram movement does not have any people who are supporting them behind? Of course, they do have people who do support them. And that's the reason why they get to last for this long after all these years. Do you know why? Because these are the same things that we're talking about here. These people, they come in Africa, they take African mineral, they go with it overseas, they fabricate guns, they fabricate bombs, they fabricate rockets, they take these things and come back and sell it in Africa market and try to bring even more conflict among Africans. When rebellions have to fight a government, you're never gonna find that no, these rebellions, they're from this country, maybe they're from another country or fighting another country. No, it is all about one Africans fighting another Africans. What are the reasons? No, this current president, they're not good leaders. Us who are good leaders. Okay, if you believe you are a good leader, why can't you come in power through the elections, where people that will have to elect you in the democratic way? Most of them, they don't do that. Instead, they prefer to take guns. Those guns, they're taking it, not that they can afford to take those guns. It's because the West power, they have seated and make sure that they have to supply these terrorists, they have to supply these rebellions, so that they'll come and bring conflict in Africa in order for them to continue looting Africa. I know you'll ask me how. Let me tell you with a very easy example. Look at Boko Haram for an example. These people, they've been in the bush. They are surviving. They are having women over there. They are having babies. They are living their normal life. They eat. They have guns. They can fight the government of Nigeria for all these years without being defeated. Wherever they go, they make sure that they take that territory and they impose their military government over there. Now, these people, when they are attacking these territories, they don't just go and pick up any kind of city or any territory or village. No, they target places where there is Nigerian petrol. Do you know why? Because once they take over that village or territory, they will make sure that they'll start producing petrol. And when they're producing this petrol, where does this petrol go? Because they're not the one who are using this petrol. This petrol bomb that they've been using, it is for the people who've been supplying them with guns, with everything. They do business. They sell it to them at a very good or cheap price, if I have to put it in that way. What about the mineral, the one in DRC, Republic Democratic of Congo? Over there, you'll find out that the rebellions, they are only taking the village which had coltan or diamond or copper or gold, because they want to make sure that once they have this village in their possession, they will be able to take as much as they want of these minerals and sell it to the Western powers. And when all this is happening, we all know companies that need to companies that buys gold and diamonds, companies that buy petrols, companies that produce guns. All these companies normally, if these Western power countries, they were having good intentions to help people of Africa, they're supposed just to go through these companies and forbid them from not buying any illegal minerals that comes from Africa continent. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Do you know why? Because they know that they are the one who are behind all this nonsense that's been going in Africa. So they want to see Africans having conflict among themselves. They want to see Africans being divided. They want to see Africa being destroyed, so that they can last forever, so that they'll be able to build and develop their countries. That is their own mission that they've been having after all these years. They pretend to leave Africa physically, but not economically. They pretend to leave Africa, but yet they continue to bring a lot of trouble among Africans, so that Africa should not have love among themselves. And that is how they manage to succeed after all this time. Whenever a Pan-African have to come and say that, guys, look, it is about time we start having our own currency, our own president, our own business, our own reserve bank, our own associations, or whether a movement, something which has to do only with Africans. They are standing against these Pan-Africans, and a lot of these Pan-Africans have been assassinated, whether through poisons, whether being prisons, whether being sent to the ICC. They have to do everything in their power to make sure that they destroy these Pan-Africans who are coming to preach for the unity of Africans. And that is the reason why you see people such as Julius Malema, Ibrahim Traore, all these true Pan-Africans, Professor Lumumba, they have become the enemy number one in their agenda, because they want to make sure that they eliminate each and every Africans who's trying to preach for the unity of Africans. Now, I have a simple question which I want to ask each one of you who's watching me. When all this is happening, are we aware about it, or are we not aware about it? Because the history will testify one day that there were people who were there, who saw the game of these West powers, but yet they closed their blind eyes and did not do nothing about it. Is that what you want your grandchildren as Africans to have to say about you? If your answer says no, then what are you still waiting for? What can you do in order for you to change things around? These things of having borders, trying to treat other Africans like they are nothing before your eyes just because maybe you believe that your country is doing better than other African countries. Those are the kind of the behaviors that you need to stop, you as an African, because you are nothing without the help of other African brothers and sisters in the continent. You as an African, you have to understand that these borders was imposed on Africans. Africans never choose to be divided among themselves. Africans never choose to say that this is Sudan and this is South Africa, or maybe this is Nigeria, or this is Zimbabwe. African never choose to have borders. These are the something which was imposed by the colonists because they found that Africa was that sweet as a cake. As we all know that when a cake is being brought to the table, whether it is in the wedding, whether it's for the marriage anniversary, whether it's for the birthday, that cake need to be shared by everyone who will be around that table. And that's what these people did. They had to look their own benefit. That's why you are having France having more than 32 countries which they had colonized in Africa. You looking at British, they're having also their countries there. You look Belgium, you look Portugal, all of them, they have to come and share this piece cake which was found in Africa. And that is how they end up dividing Africa, because they knew that if we divide these people, we will continue doing this for so many years to come. Professor Lumumba had said it before. He said that the Belgium were here, the France, they were here. All of them, they were here.
You know, we have complained for too long. We are not going to complain anymore. We must ask ourselves, and what is the state of our continent? What is the state of Pan-Africanism? Those same diabolical peoples divided our continent into little pieces. They came here. The Dutch were here. They went to what is now Namibia. The Germans were here. They went to Angola and Mozambique and Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde. The Portuguese were here. They came to Nyasaland. They came to what was then Rhodesia and Zambia, and they went to Kenya and Uganda and Ghana and Nigeria and Sierra Leone and Gambia. The British were here. Then the French also came. They were here. They went to Dahomey, now Benin, to Togo, to Cameroon, to Cote d'Ivoire, to Senegal, to Mauritania, to Algeria. The French were here. The Italians were here. They came to Somalia. They went to Libya. They were here. The Belgians were here. They went to Congo. The Spanish were here. They went to Sao Tome and Principe. They were here. The Belgians, of course, and the Germans went to Rwanda and Urundi. They were here. All of them were here. And what they did was to remind us, if we needed reminding at all, that they were here to stay. They abused us. We fought against them wherever they were. And we defeated them, and we started regaining our independence.
The only way we can stop all this, as Africans, we need to be united. We need to love one another. We need to have respect for one another. We need to understand that we are one person. We need to understand also that we only have each other and not the other way around. We need to fight for Africa continent to start having one language, one currency, one reserve bank, one military that will kick off all these rebellions that are getting to fight among themselves as a nation. We need to have one leadership, a very strong and radical leadership that can stand against the Western power. A leadership that can come and defend the right of Africans wherever they find themselves within Africa continent. It is only in that way we'll be able to have our true liberation, we'll be able to have our economic freedom as we deserve. That is what we're supposed to be doing as Africans. So now that you have understood the true reason why the Western power had divided the Africa continent, these are the things that we need to put in place in order for us to go back to this one Africa that we used to be before. I hope this message reach you well. I hope you take this message more serious and put it in practice and try to make sure that you preach these words to each and every African out there, so that we can all be in the same page, so that we can all be united as Africans, no matter where you find yourself around the world. But as long you are a black Africans or you are a white African, then you have to come together and put our hands together so that we can all do what we're supposed to be doing as Africans. That was the purpose of this message. I hope you put this to the consideration and try to preach it out to everyone out there, so that we can put things in order, so that Africa can raise up again and can get to develop in the way that we're supposed to be developing after all these years. Thank you so much for watching this video up to now. We really do appreciate your presence on this channel. If you don't want to miss any of our videos, as we are here every time, if you want to know more about Africa continent with Africans, if you want to know more about African minerals and what is happening, well, you're in the right place. You just have to make sure that you hit that subscribe button, so that whenever we are live or whenever we upload our video, you don't get to miss it. But above all, don't leave without doing us a favor. Give us your thumbs up. You see that like button, the one which shows like this, just click on it. We'll really do appreciate that if you do that. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video up to now. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Take care of you. Ciao, ciao.